The opinions expressed during this show do not represent those of this station. If you've missed any of this show, you can follow the podcast at energeticcity.ca. Now, an in-depth look at the news and information shaping our community. This is Trev Talks with your host, Trevor Boland.
Good morning. Welcome to this snowy edition of Trev Talks. We're a little bit under a bit of a blizzard right now, but if you're listening live, we've got a very special guest on today. We've got Mayor Walt Cobb from the mayor of Williams Lake. Walt, can you hear me okay?
Yep, that sounds good.
Awesome. So thanks for joining us on the show this morning. We're you and I were talking a little bit off air. Now, you've been in municipal politics. You've been in local government politics for what I said was an extreme long time.
Well, off and on since 1980.
Yeah, that's incredible. And always in Williams Lake.
Oh, yes.
Okay, and now you're into your 2 terms, which are actually 4 in total of being the mayor of Williams Lake. 2 in the 90s and 2 now.
2 now, yep.
Okay, perfect. So I came across your story in the Williams Lake, I think it was the Tribune, local interview with you regarding everything that seems to be taking center stage on the news right now, which is climate action and municipalities looking to sue industry and oil companies and trying to get more on their side. And I really, really like the way you spun that.
Well, I didn't mean to be spinning anything.
Well, but you spun it to reality, right?
Well, yeah, no, that's exactly what the problem that we have when these lower mainland cities decide that they're going to attack the natural resources that keep them operational. And basically, that's what I tried to get across. If it wasn't for the natural resources that we produce, whether it be the steel, whether it be the oil, whether it be the wood, they wouldn't have much.
No, they wouldn't.
If we cut it off at Hope somewhere, I don't think it'd be very long before they'd realize how important that these natural resources are to them. And we're under attack again. And I don't know whether it's because it's time for these environmental groups to start raising money, or the fact that we have a very green government right now, and both federally and provincially, and they're feeling their oats and figure they're going to get something done. But if they continue to attack the resource communities of BC, not only are we going to lose those communities, but we're going to be out of work for everybody.
We are. And you know what? You'd made a comment, and I don't know if it was on the interview or maybe on your Facebook page itself, that said if we continue down this path, we're going to basically go back to the 1990s.
Yes, the war in the woods, and I think that's where we're headed.
Yeah.
And from what I hear from your mayor, they're talking about redoing the land use plans, and I know I spent 2.5 years of my life working on the land use plan here in the 90s, and we kept getting, every time we needed something done, oh no, we can't do that because it's the land use plan, and now they're suggesting that we might be looking at ripping them up or starting from scratch. I'm sorry. It's time the resource-based communities band together and let the rest of Canada, as well as particularly the urbanites, understand where the bread and butter comes from.
I agree. And you know what I love? I mean, I think it's fantastic that you and Lori have touched base on this as well, because, in Fort St. John, and it's not that we look for allies in industry or even in the province or Canada, but it's nice to know that other communities are on the same page as us, because the only thing that makes the noise or the news is when, Victoria sues somebody or Whistler sends a letter to CNRL, and it's, it kind of becomes like northern BC where, we do drill for gas and we do exploration and we do build dams, and it seems like we become a very secluded area amongst a province that we sometimes feel like we don't fit in.
Right, and they don't seem to have any problem using our products. But they don't want it to happen in their backyard. Let us supply them, but do all the drilling here, do everything here, put all the pipelines here or the dams here, but they don't want to do anything in their backyard. I mean, they don't even want to cut down trees, for Pete's sake, and it's very, very frustrating.
It is. Well, I agree with you 100%. So what is the major industry in Williams Lake? Like, I don't imagine there's a lot of drilling as far as natural gas goes.
No, we don't have any natural gas, but we have 2 mines, Gibraltar and Mount Polley. Our number one industry, of course, is the forest industry.
Yeah.
We have an energy plant, a cogen plant. We have 5 sawmills. We have a couple of small operations. We're finger jointing. Of course, we have a huge agriculture cattle industry in the area as well. Probably not as big as you guys up there, but we're the largest shipping of cattle out of Williams Lake. Our stockyards here, so as well as we have a pellet plant. So we're fairly well diversified.
Oh yeah,
but we don't have any oil and gas at this stage of the game yet.
No, but you've got everything else.
Yeah, well they're drilling out in the Chilcotin, so apparently there is the possibility of gas finds out there. So yeah, well then the Chaco ties into the west out in the Chilcotin, so it's all part of that basin where all a lot of the natural resources and the gas is.
That's great. That's actually phenomenal. So, and I mean, Prince George is similar as far as industry goes with the forestry, the sawmills, et cetera, which is the largest city in what they say northern BC. So, I mean, you've got Fort Nelson, we've got Fort St. John, Dawson Creek. Mackenzie also has been heavy into industry. Again, maybe not oil and gas, but as far as, hydroelectric or forestry goes. And then, of course, we've got Prince George, Williams Lake. What is it going to take for all of the municipalities to get together? And I think the more that the discussion happens and the more that we make light on this, the more I think we'll start to see people siding on. So I can remember years ago, I'd reached out to all the local brokerages, all the RE/MAX brokerages in all the cities in northern BC and said, hey, you know what? We need to get together. We need to come together and band together and be a yes voice to LNG. And that was the time that the feds were looking at it, the province was looking at it. So, I mean, this was a few years ago. And we talked about doing the same thing with municipalities and mayors and councils. And I mean, it was easier for me to get the brokerages all on board. But I mean, we literally had, 16, 17 signatures of people saying, yes, this is happening in our backyard. We are supplying not only the province or not only nationally, but globally. And I think we need to do the same thing with municipalities.
Well, and we do, but how we coordinated, I don't know, but I know the SHARE group. If you remember, during the 90s, we had that Share Our Resources group. Yeah. And apparently, ours is still operating here in Williams Lake, actually. So it sounds like that they're trying to get organized again, which it may be the way to go, because that way you get your communities bought into it. We as communities can help support that group. They can be our spokesperson or hire the staff, because I don't have time or probably a lot of the knowledge that's needed, but collectively we can do that. And I think that needs to be, and I'm going to see if we can get a working session at our NCLGA, which is here in May, to try and solidify it. Because if we don't solidify it soon, we're going to lose.
Yeah, I agree. We are. I've drafted a resolution to go forward to UBCM. I'm sure you'll see it here. I believe council's dealing with it on Monday, but it fits along the very same patterns of, why are we attacking our natural resources? Why are we attacking the companies that are providing the services, the jobs, and ultimately the amount of funds that it seems to be BC needs to operate? And you look at the budget that the current government has rolled out, and there's a decline in oil and gas operations. There's a decline in revenue from resource-based municipalities and operations, and there shouldn't be, because we look at what's happening globally and the need that we see that's going to be globally from 2025 and on. Those should be increases, not decreases.
Yes, and yeah, it's going to be a battle. I know it's going to be a battle, but we've got to do it collectively. Individually, we're going to get lost, and as a small community, like I say, I don't have the expertise myself, but I've been around long enough that I know a lot of the pitfalls. And collectively, I think it's the time. The time is now, because the longer we wait, the worse it's going to get.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, they rolled out what was their 3-year budget or their 3-year budget plan earlier in the week, and that's kind of what made me go, okay, you know what? The minute you start to decrease these revenues, yet there's no discussion of that of what's going to replace that. That's when it starts to get scary.
You're right, and I had a conference call with the Chamber of Commerce because they did an overview of the budget. And basically it's the small businesses that are, well, businesses in general that are paying the brunt of it. And they did an analysis on the health tax alone that, well, you guys as a municipality are having to pay the bill. It's going to cost us about a 1% tax increase to pay for this medical plan that they've now put in place. But the Chamber of Commerce did the evaluation on the budget on the BC Medical, and you know that they've cut BC Medical and now they're taxing the employer, right?
Yeah.
Well, when Chamber did the evaluation, they're collecting $600 million more through taxation for the medical plan than they were through the BC Medical.
Wow.
So, and that was supposed to be a neutral. It wasn't going to cost us any money, but the employer pays it now and the employee don't. Well, somebody's going to pay it.
Yeah.
And there you go, $600 million extra revenue that was supposed to be just to get rid of our BC Medical. Well, to me, it would have been cheaper to let us each pay a little bit on our medical than start overtaxing us another $600 million.
Exactly. Yeah. So I see that actually Keith Baldry just tweeted out that the National Energy Board recommends TransMountain pipeline be approved, saying that it is in the public interest with 156 conditions. Right? So, I mean, we've got, I don't know what kind of an approval it is when you have 156 conditions to something.
Yeah.
You know, being in the contract law end of things that I'm in, where we have 5 or 6 conditions and call that a hurdle to get over. We now have 156 conditions for, may I mind you, a pipeline that we as Canadian citizens now own.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is even worse, and thankfully, I think that'll become an election topic. I think this will be the start of it becoming an election topic as we head into a federal election this fall with all the fun stuff that's going on right now with our Prime Minister.
So we don't know what those
156 conditions?
156 conditions are yet. Yeah,
no, they have not been released.
It probably would have been just easier and cheaper just to say, okay, no pipeline.
Yeah. And again, I think that's what turns this into now going to be an election issue, because there was far less conditions when this was first proposed. They kicked it back, and they've spent a year now meeting what the courts wanted to see, which is meeting with First Nations communities and doing negotiations there and dealing with the cry out for the killer whales or the orcas on that coast, and they turn around and approve it now and add an extremely larger amount of conditions after a year of this has already gone on.
Yeah.
And that's what we're facing in this province. And I think that's what maybe people don't understand, why there's such a shaken up about investor confidence in British Columbia, why the municipalities like yourselves are reaching out to other municipalities and trying to fix what's happening, because the province is not, they're not on side, unfortunately.
Well, we're being stymied. We're stopping progress. And I guess if you don't want anything to happen, that's the best way to do it. Put a whole bunch of regulations in place and requirements that people will just walk away.
Yeah, I agree. How's forestry doing? I mean, you guys are heavily more reliant on forestry than we are. I mean, we certainly are in the forestry game as far as industry goes, but not to the stretch that you guys are. What's been happening? I mean, forestry, the Premier had made an announcement about doing a review on forestry here about 3 months ago or so. Has there been anything that's happened? Has it improved? Has it not improved?
Well, the prices aren't bad right now. The process of getting permits apparently is still slow as the second coming. Molasses in January, and that's still there. But the prices are pretty good, and our mills are pretty optimistic.
Good.
We've got the fire issue we're still dealing with, because a big part of our forest was burnt.
Yeah, that was a huge fire.
Last 2 years. So, but the mills have upgraded and done some work that they're able to utilize some of that burnt wood, but there again, like the beetle kill, the lifespan is a lot less than it was with the beetles, but it's they've upgraded and going to be able to get some of that wood out of the bush before it becomes no good, and it's fairly positive.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. We're going to go to a quick break right now. So if you're listening to us live or on Facebook Live, we'll be right back with Mayor Walt Cobb, the mayor of Williams Lake.
At SJA Promo, we strive to show off your company brand. We are constantly bringing in new samples to show you the new, the unique, and the popular items. Do you need gifts for staff appreciation, company barbecue, fundraiser? Let us know the event, and we'll do the searching for you. St. John Advertising has been logoing products for a long time and know your brand is your signature. We handle your name like it was ours. See how we can help you make your logo stand out today on thousands of product ideas. We take pride in what we do and how we run our business. But hey, don't take our word for it. Ask our customers. SJA Promo. Find us online or stop by the shop at 8211 100th Ave beside Casey's Pub.
On March 8th, the 45th Annual Child Development Center Talent Show will take the stage. The event brings together local talent, families, and supporters of the center while working towards their goal of $100,000 to help upgrade the fort. We want to make the show as accessible as possible for those in and around our community. And the Fort St. John Co-op is proud to present the Talent Show live broadcast. Starting at 6 o'clock, you can watch performers of all shapes, sizes, and talents at energeticcity.ca/talent show. The Fort St. John Co-op's Talent Show live broadcast. You're at home here. Fort St. John, it's that time. Time to get your groove on. April 27th at the Pomeroy Hotel and Conference Center. Band registration for the 2019 Northern Groove Fest is taking place right now. If you want a chance to showcase your band's musical talent and help people get their groove on, then head to energeticcity.ca/Northern Groove and sign up today. We're looking for bands that want to light up the stage and make it an evening that we won't forget. Each year, Northern Groove Fest showcases local talent in a night of live music, dancing, and all-round fun. Get your band signed up today and get ready to take the stage.
Velocity Industries Inc. is a new, fast-growing industrial insulation company in the Fort St. John area. Experience in all aspects of the trade, from self-frame buildings, utility structures, insulated blankets, and above-ground pipe insulation. Our safety, attitude, and quality of work will meet or exceed your expectations on site. Velocity Industries for all your thermal solutions. Located at 13235 West Coast Frontage Road in Charlie Lake. Call 250-264-2073.
Deciding whether to own or rent. Get in that part today, not tomorrow. The right math to make the financing work. No matter what your size, growing your business isn't just one thing. It's a million little things. And with the right support on compact equipment, it all adds up. You work hard and smart. Your Cat dealer is ready to do the same. Buy a new Cat skid steer loader for only $580 per month at Finning. Call 1-888-FINNING.
The best plumbers believe with the right knowledge, the right tools, and the right supplies, there is no job too big or too small. That's why at EMCO, they are the professional's choice for all things plumbing and heating. They have the supplies to tackle any home or commercial project. They have the right tools to get the job done, and most importantly, they have the knowledge to help you successfully complete your dream kitchen or bathroom project. There's a reason the professionals shop here. Plumbing and heating is their business, and business is good. EMCO in Fort St. John. Find us on Alaska Road. If I had my life to live again, I'd be a plumber.
Watch this show live on Facebook or download the podcast at energeticcity.ca. This is Trev Talks with Trevor Bolin.
Welcome back. We're if you missed us earlier this morning, you can catch us on our podcast or, of course, Facebook Live, which will be replaying on all the channels. We are joined by Walt Cobb, the mayor of Williams Lake. Walt, are you still there?
I'm still here.
Awesome. So just before the break, we talked a little bit about a resolution that we're hoping to push forward to UBCM. And for those of you that are listening that don't know what that means is municipalities will draft resolutions at which point in time be presented to the Union of British Columbia Municipalities to be voted on and then hopefully taken forward to the province. And one of those resolutions is the climate change resolution. Whereas 187 local governments in British Columbia, 98% of the total, are signatories on that climate action. But that does not mean that, we need to have municipalities that are trying to sue local businesses, because they are in our communities, as well as national businesses. Companies that operate in BC and Canada must adhere to some of the most stringent environmental requirements in the world. Demand letters or lawsuits would be negative signals to the world that Canada is not further resource development and is a poor place to invest. So what we're hoping to do is kind of what has already started to take place, is to get other municipalities such as Williams Lake, Quesnel, Prince George, Kelowna, Kamloops, those that appreciate the fact that, the amount of forestry that's done in Williams Lake benefits, provincially, nationally, globally. The amount of natural gas that's extracted in northern BC has that same equal benefit. And we need to encourage other municipalities, especially I think in the south, to understand what it is that we do.
Yeah, and I think, first of all, we have to say, and we all say it in the interior anyway, is that we're not about not making sure that we have a clean environment. But we have to look at ways of doing it, and paying the Environmental Law Society a whole lot of money for a few lawyers to get rich on and go nowhere, because it will go nowhere. When you look at, they tried it in the States and it didn't work. So why are we even considering it? And they need a reality check, because if we charge, or whatever we charge the oil companies, whoever is producing these things, that cost is going to be related onto us. So every time we buy another gallon of gas, do you think that they're not going to turn that price on to us? We're going to pay for it one way or the other. So let's find ways, and if that's what we have to do, find other ways or other resources to use it so that we can get away from the oil products. That's fine. But it's going to be a long, long time before we are able to ever have anything, even when we talk about wind power and everything else. Do you think those generators don't use oil?
Yeah.
Do you think they don't need to be greased? The same as this whole court case at Whistler. I wonder how many barrels of grease they use just for the ski lift alone. I mean,
very valid point.
Come on, let's get serious about this.
Yeah.
Yes, we have to take care of the environment, and we all do that. But to do it through a court case is ludicrous as far as I'm concerned. I really believe that some of those, what did they call them, cappuccino-sucking condo dwellers from the lower mainland.
So hold on a second. Cappuccino-sucking condo dwellers. That's the reference. Okay, beautiful. I'm putting that in the memory bank right now.
Okay, well, they've lost touch with reality. They really have. And like I said in one of the notes that I got, look at the lower mainland. Look at Victoria alone. The cruise ships and the oil and the gas that they use to get all those people to see them, every ferry trip to get there. They need those products. I can't see a ferry going across with a windmill.
No, I agree. And I think, it's funny because I don't know if it was Aaron Gunn or BC Proud or one of the groups, and I think it was just maybe Aaron's personal page himself, but he had posted about all the snow happening in Victoria. And of course, the first thing that comes to my mind is, I'll bet they're happy they've got natural gas, at this point in time, because, when it's -7 on the island, you might as well be, to me, I'd rather be -30 in Fort St. John than -7 by the water.
Well, at least we have the common sense to have a wood stove.
Just in case. Yeah. But, yeah. And I think that's what goes back. I can remember years ago, Lori and I, her worship, had worked on a committee that was an energy literacy committee. And we'd put together this committee to try to get people to understand, when you flick the light switch, what happens at the back end of that? When you fuel up your car, what happens at the back end of that? And unfortunately, it becomes this fight that you need to be ready. And I had an interview. I was doing an interview yesterday with a reporter at a Squamish, and the same thing. And I said, listen, you need to understand that you have to drive your car. We are not going to have, as much as the government believes, this complete transformation in electric cars in British Columbia, as vast and, you look at remote areas. I could not have an electric car in Fort St. John at -48, which was a week and a half ago, and 6 inches of snow falling right now today.
Yeah, right. And where are they going to get the power? I mean, okay, well, let's look at the forest industry as an example. They're hauling wood from 100 and some miles away. Can you imagine those logging trucks being run on electricity?
No.
I mean, come on, get serious. There isn't power out there to begin with. You got to have a diesel generator to get the electricity to start with. So
yeah, and again, back to needing. It's kind of like the comment you made about the chairlifts in Whistler.
Yeah.
Right? No, it's you know, and I don't know, and you know, I guess maybe like we said before we started talking this morning is knowing the fact that something needs to be done, knowing the fact that there's an issue. You know, where we go from here, I think is up to, you know, yourselves as mayors and the councils that you guys represent in local communities, and then getting the province to understand that they're wrong.
Yes, and
right.
we have to join forces collectively, and hopefully in May, when the convention's here in Williams Lake in May, that we can get something and resolve this, or at least start the movement. Let's put it that way.
Agreed.
We need to start the movement and make sure that these urbanites have a reality check, and we got to go en masse to we either got to boycott UBCM, the Union of BC Municipalities, or we got to go there en masse and make sure we get these resolutions forward. We had a resolution put forward a couple of years ago that when UBCM took it to the minister, they had whoever made the presentation on our behalf had no concept of what the resolution even meant. And that's very, very frustrating that, you know, we pass these resolutions, we understand what they mean, but we have to be there at the table when the discussion happens, because as it gets interpreted down the road, it's like sending a message around a room, and by the time you get to the other end, nobody understands what it started out to be.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening with some of these resolutions. We have to make sure we're at the table when it gets to the government so that we can get the message across.
I agree. It's time to take back the way things are done in BC and united in the municipalities. And, you know, we talked a little bit earlier, Alberta as well. You know, I'll read a lot of the Facebook comments from Albertans that feel that they are extremely secluded and alone as a province when you listen to everything else that goes on. And to me, I look at the equalization that Alberta has paid over the years, and I look at the amount of jobs and, you know, the average income of people that don't necessarily live in Alberta, work in Alberta, live in Ontario, live in, you know, the Maritimes or you know, that area, or even here in British Columbia, and
right.
It is astronomical. And again, it's this singling out that we in the North feel, that I think the entire province of Alberta feels, and I think that there could be a very strong stance for us to all get together and say, no more. This is over. This show that has gone on for way too long is now over, and it's time for the municipalities to make this province what it is.
Well, we got to start somewhere, and hopefully in May will be the time we get at it. So
I agree. Well, you know what? I thank you very much. I know you were a very busy man. Absolutely loved having you on the show, Walt. I appreciate it very much. I appreciate the fact that, you know, Williams Lake, Fort St. John, and the municipalities that are hopefully going to get on board by May or into May is going to make this province listen to what needs to happen.
Well, and I think we have to spread that not only across to Alberta and farther east, but we have to also include other regional resource communities like in the Kootenays. They have the same issues we do when it comes to the caribou issue that you guys are dealing with up there right now. It's coming to our backyard very soon. But there again, with the caribou issue, they're not understanding. They're saying, okay, we got an endangered species here. And what do? They do a limited entry hunt.
Yeah.
Come on, if it's endangered, why are you allowing somebody to go in and hunt them?
Yeah.
I mean, one hand doesn't know what the other one's doing.
That is our provincial government in a nutshell.
Yeah.
I agree. No, that is fantastic. But again, thank you so much, and I look forward to all the work that I think is going to happen with our conversation today.
Perfect.
All right, take care.
Thank you for the call.
Yeah, thanks.
Bye.
That was another episode of Trev Talks. If you caught us live, that was Walt Cobb, the mayor of Williams Lake, joining forces with other resource-based communities and trying to shake this province up a little bit. So ensure that you stay tuned, stay warm, and have a great weekend.
The Fort St. John Community Awards Gala is coming up. It's time for you to nominate someone special or a group in your community that deserves to be recognized. Head on over to